Here we are, friends. Welcome back to the Cool to Be Conscious podcast. It's me, myself, and I again today, this afternoon, and I'm excited to. Well, it's not quite this afternoon. It's 11:53 on a Tuesday, and we're dropping in with a monologue conversation with you guys. I should probably get better at planning a little bit, around what I want to talk into and speak into, but I feel it's more authentic to just ramble and speak into my current affairs, my current challenges, what I've been navigating recently, and maybe some wins that are also happening in my world. I'm really in the wait room for what's to come on the other side of giving birth to a little human being. Well, not me specifically giving birth, but my girlfriend giving birth, which is, man, it's big. And I've been reflecting a lot over the last few weeks of my own journey as a human being, and it's kind of brought me to this place now where the thing that I, I've of course, had, potential thoughts of happening and taking place is happening. I'm having a baby with a woman and with my beautiful girlfriend, and it's something that I thought wouldn't be here so fast. I remember like it was yesterday going to school on the school bus and walking down the road to meet it, and sitting in the classroom thinking about where I was going to ride my motorbike after school. And it feels literally as if it was just yesterday, and now I'm here about to have a child come into my life, which I'm super grateful for, but also so nervous for too, because I don't know what life is going to look like on the other side of this, and I only have my own projections and understandings of what I've seen and from what I've seen in both of my parents and how life changed for them in their own respectful ways. But man, being on the journey and stepping into it and experiencing it is completely different. I remember chatting to my high school friends when I was 17 years old, saying, "Oh, we're gonna be all best mates, and we're gonna have kids, and we're gonna live in a cul-de-sac, and they're gonna play footy and cricket together, and we'll all live in the same street, and we'll stay best friends, and we'll have kids." And I think a lot of people have these, you know, um, fantasies, especially when we're younger. We plan to do these things together as childhood best friends, whether that's get the same job, do the same work, or live in the same cul-de-sac in the same environment, or be on neighbouring farms, or what have you. And me and the boys used to always say we'll have kids at the same time and they can all grow up together. And as I have been reflecting back on my earlier years of life, I can recognise that, man, those friends and I went, very separate ways. We went in different directions, and it wasn't something that I had expected. I thought that we were going to be joined at the hip for life. And yeah, I've been having these just moments of reflection that life is so unpredictable, and we think that we have this plan and book to follow, and in the same breath we think that we can also write our own story. And yet here I am about to have a kid this week probably, and I would have never have picked it last year. 9 months ago definitely wouldn't have picked it. I'm really still at the beginning of building the foundations of this movement that I'm a part of, called To Be Conscious, and having a child and being in a committed relationship was never the plan this early. And it's just been this, beautiful unfolding of trusting in what's in front of me. And the practice has been to just remain in the present and be where my feet are and make the most of those moments that I have right here. And I know that's when life just moves so effortlessly and you find a sense of ease. When, I look back in moments of my life where I was really trying to control the circumstances and the outcomes, and I found a real discomfort in that. I found myself in a real discomfort in that. And that's what essentially led me to feeling really anxious and overwhelmed and stressed and highly strung and disconnected from where I was, because I was always wanting something different, or I was looking to better the circumstances that I was currently in rather than accepting and making the most of those circumstances. I was always looking for more, for better, whether that be in a relationship, someone that I was dating. This is an easy example, as we all have experienced this when you're seeing somebody and you try and find something in them that isn't good enough, and you find this reason to change or to avoid really deepening that intimacy or that relationship, because it's so much easier to just look for the problems and run away from where you currently are at. And I think it's a great example for many things in life. There are so many of us, and I've been in the same position too, where we're in a job that we are just really not enjoying, and we're going there day in, day out, and we're showing up, and we know that we have to do the job in order to make the money, to enjoy the lifestyle that we're looking to create. Yet we still show up with so much resistance to be there. And what I've learned as I've got older is that it's so much easier to actually fall in love with the process of what you're doing rather than push against and resist it, because you're just creating a really turbulent internal experience for yourself. Circumstances are different, let's talk into that example of having a job that you're in and you're currently just not enjoying it, and you're just like, I don't want to be here anymore. You have two choices. You can go to work with this sense of irritation, resentment, frustration, and slog out the days, leave feeling exhausted, leave feeling irritated, and head home. Do what you love in the afternoon, or do what you love after work. Have some fun and get through the job or get through the current circumstance in that position or situation that you're in. Or you can choose to see that current reality or experience or job as the stepping stone toward your next step or the next chapter in your book. And you can choose to make the most of that experience and choose to really embrace it for what it is, not see it as the final result or something that you're going to be in forever, but you see it as a part of the process. So you can now show up with this sense of appreciation and gratitude for what this step holds for you in your journey, rather than this sense of, or from this place of like, I'm not meant to be working here. Why am I working here? And then resenting it and having this like negative charge throughout your whole working day, and then you leave feeling drained. It's the same with the relationship. There's many of you that are listening that are potentially in relationships that are amazing and are going fantastic. And then there's moments of that relationship that are hard and challenging. And in those moments, it's our practice and choice to really open up to what we're experiencing in that, to develop and grow and deepen that relationship even further. And I know I reflect on my own relationships in those circumstances that were currently happening. I would use those as excuses to validate my reason to run away from deepening or going into the challenge together as a couple. So it's the same thing. We can choose to, open, grow, develop in any moment. And I guess the full circle for this conversation here and this topic is where I'm at currently. I have this choice to step into fatherhood with such fear and overwhelm and stress to like be the best dad that I can be and hold myself on this like pedestal to be the greatest father and to do better than my dad did. Not that my dad didn't do good. He did actually amazingly. But to have compassion and have a sense of acceptance for the fact that I will never be a perfect dad and no one's going to be a perfect dad, and just to simply open up to this opportunity to experience the process of becoming a dad rather than think that I've got it all together at the beginning. And when I approach life like this as the student that is curious to be tested and curious to be invited into further parts of me as a man, that's when it becomes exciting rather than overwhelming. So like I'm feeling so excited to feel what it feels like to be a dad. I don't know what it feels. I've never been one. So yes, I've got a dog, and I'm somewhat of a dog dad, but like it's going to be so different for me, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, man. Yeah, me and Jess were just talking the other day about how this little, this little person, this little person is going to bring attributes of me into its personality and Jess into its personality, and I look back at how I've inherited parts of my own parents into the way that I am, and all of the positive framework and programming that I've inherited that have made me who I am today, that gives me the ability to do what I love for a living and to share this message of becoming a more conscious, connected human being, and also just living from a place of being who I am. Being who I am. And it comes from a lot of what my mum and my dad have taught me, and in this space we so often, and I too, I put my hand up and I've focused on some of the negatives throughout my childhood that really shaped me, and the human body is fascinating. The brain also is beyond comprehension, but and I know this for myself, is that it focuses on the negatives a lot in terms of our memory and in terms of our lived experiences. We hold on to the more challenging times, and it's interesting because the body will always remember those times more than the times that were full of love and joy and excitement. It will always kind of hold on to the moments where we felt in despair or in fear. We felt that we were under threat, and it's because that's how our brain is wired to keep us alive. That's how we adapt. That's how we survive. And man, there were so many amazing memories and amazing times in my childhood that have shaped me. And I see so many parts of my dad and me, specifically when it comes to organization and keeping the place looking neat and tidy. Like I found myself nesting. It's something that a woman do when they're about to give birth to a baby, and I found myself doing it as a man big time. I do it in different ways to Jess. Jess has been getting all the baby clothes folded and making sure the nursery looks nice and neat, and I've been on the roof making sure the gutters are clean. I've been painting the exterior. I've been water blasting the driveway. I've been trimming the hedges and getting my hands dirty, and it's been such an innate thing. I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't feel that I needed to do all of that stuff. And then all of a sudden the baby's nearly here and I'm out on the tools, up a ladder on the roof, doing all the things. It's like I'm getting the cave ready, I'm getting my fort ready for a little human to be birthed in. I don't know. It's a wild thing. And maybe some of you that are listening are like, I've been through that and I can understand and resonate with that. And others are like, oh man, I can't resonate with that. I haven't had a baby yet. I don't know what that's like. And I was I was very much like you. I didn't think I was going to be nesting at all. And it's just like come through me, which is really profound to experience. And one of those attributes and I think moments of appreciation, I can look back on my dad and, I remember always, my mum and my dad split when I was really young and we didn't get to spend as much time together as, I would have liked to. And it was complicated and there was a separation there and there was lots of space in between and then we lived in different places as well and which made it hard for us to go and see dad and we spent our years growing up with mum predominantly. But whenever we visited dad, what I really appreciated about dad's home was how well kept it was. He'd always have the lawn really well groomed. The garden was all really particular. He was always out in the garden, cleaning, water blasting the walls, painting the house. He's a painter. Everything had its place and was very organised. And I've recognised that I've really inherited that because I looked up to him in that way. I really did. The way that he organised, looked after, and took care of his property, his gear, was always really admirable. Like even to his golf clubs were always clean. I played golf as a young kid, and he always taught me to clean my clubs after using them and respect everything that I've got. Really look after it, and if you look after it, it'll last longer. And I really see that in the reflection of everything in life. When we treat everything as if it was essentially ourself, then it will last longer. And the energy that you're putting into it will just come straight back to you from that certain thing. Like as an example, I've just bought an old chest freezer off Facebook Marketplace for $120 because I wanted to build an ice bath. So instead of buying a brand new one for about $1,500, I just spent $120 on an old one, something that someone had let go of, from a relationship standpoint within that thing. The freezer was disgusting, had mold growing on it, it was really rugged and run down. Like you can see that I trashed the thing. I saw it on Marketplace and I was like, this is perfect for me. I see the potential in this. I really do. And I bought it and I worked on it for a couple of hours. I cleaned it and polished it up. And a lot of those skills come from my dad. He taught me how to do that stuff. And I really am appreciative for all of those tools and ways of viewing things from him. And I really haven't talked into a lot of the positives from my childhood when it comes to the space. I've focused on all of my challenges that were traumatic, that shaped me and trajected me into the journey that I'm on, rather than looking at all of the also positives that come from my challenging childhood. We all have our own individual subjective challenges in life. My challenges may not look like a challenge or hear like a challenge or sound like a challenge, sorry, to you. Whereas your challenge to me might be like, whoa, that's hectic and full on. And for you, it might not even be a challenge. You might have just rolled through that experience. So it's all super subjective. Super subjective. But I can undoubtedly really understand that concept of we are a product of our environment. We really are. Until we become conscious and aware. And that's the practice of becoming more aware, understanding where our habits, behaviors, and the foundation and construct of who we are comes from. And that's really those first, I'd say first 15 years of life. It's where we're really formed. We're really built. And everything on top of that is kind of like the icing on the cake and the cherries on the top as we step into adulthood. But really the fundamentals are built in those earlier years. When you start to become aware of it, it's exciting. You start to analyze and watch yourself in this objective or third person perspective of, why am I behaving this way? Catch yourself out with a bit of awareness every now and again and go, why did I do that thing? And like, why did I act that way? Why am I feeling this way towards this person? Or why am I responding to the way that this person is talking to me? Where's that coming from? What's that reminding me of? And 9 times out of 10, it reminds you of the way that your parents were treating you, talking to you, listening to you, being with you. 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. So get curious with yourself today and just start to notice how you're showing up and why you're showing up in that certain way. Compassion is number one with those actions, especially in relationships. Intimate relationships can be and are the most transformational experiences of life if we're open to that. Otherwise, they can be irritating, and you can label yourself as someone that's never going to find the perfect match or the perfect partner. But trust me, there is no such thing. There is only a moment in time when you accept that fact and you choose. You choose somebody. You choose to develop, grow, explore each other's triggers, each other's challenges, each other's vulnerability. That's where that expansion and connection really forms further. Yeah, man. What a journey we're on, eh? What a journey we're on. I'm going to leave it there. It feels really good. Have fun out there today, fam. And we're back in 2 weeks with a guest. Yeah. I'm excited for that. Have fun. Big love. Chat soon. Peace.